Hello. Welcome everyone to JLABTV. I am JLAB and this is the Unity of NEC. NEC are a Dutch team that I've had my eye on for a little while now, ever since they became the affiliates of my Sienna team in my other YouTube series. If you want to check out that series, be sure to click the card that should be appearing right now. However, NEC Nijmegen are a team that has caught my eye because of numerous things in the past history. NEC Nijmegen have got a 12,500 seater stadium, they've got good training facilities, great youth facilities, adequate junior coaching and adequate youth recruitment, which for me has already made them a very interesting proposition. The reserve stadium is about 1,500 seats, which again isn't ideal if you wanted to be a great team, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. What is also interesting to me is their history, where they have been in third place in the Eredivisie twice, and they have been runners-up in the Dutch Cup 4 times. Now, I don't know about you, but that feels like that is a lot of potential that could be utilised to progress even further. And in this division that we're currently in, the second tier, they won it in 2015 and haven't been promoted since they were relegated in 2017, which for me is a situation where perhaps they need to work on a few things here and there. But there's also one more thing that has caught my eye, and I didn't know this before looking into this team, but this team had been in Europe very recently. I think as recently as 2013, but they haven't really coped since, and they were in 5th place in 2003, so it's not like they are a terrible team, and they have in recent years been trying to get back into the top tier. Since 2013, though, they haven't really done a lot. They've been struggling to survive, been relegated twice, and they haven't really progressed further up the league than they want to be. So the aim for this would be to not only get promoted, but also to get into European football and to get this team to win not only their first Dutch Cup, but also their first Eredivisie, which for me is important. The timescale that the board have given me to get promoted to the Eredivisie is 3 seasons. They want us to reach the playoffs in the first season, continue working towards getting promotion in the second year, and then officially win promotion in the third year, while looking to build on from our promotion to the Eredivisie in the 2 years afterwards. For me, that's good time. It means that we can be taking our time with this, we can tinker the squad if we need to, and we don't have to rush things at all. And that is another situation I want to look into. We also start with 6.28 million, but we only have 45,000 to spend, and the wage budget cannot be tinkered with, or at least it can't go any lower than it is right now because it's literally spending that much money. If we wanted to adjust it, we could literally just adjust it this way, but it wouldn't really do a lot for the money because we'd only about get another £900 more in the wage budget, which for me is not ideal and not useful. Our first team is looking like this, and we've got a lot of players that could be useful. We've got at least Dirt Proper, who could be very good in the future, but is inconsistent, unfortunately for us. But he's got a lot of potential and should be an Eredivisie central midfielder in the future, which for me is very exciting, to say the least. We've also got Ayales Tazan, and he is also someone that should be an Eredivisie player in the future, or at least says he should be improving on in the future. He's a winger, could be inverted winger, and is both footed, so very useful indeed. Can cut inside from both wings, which makes him the perfect inverted winger for the role. But what that is the case, we've got a lot of other players as well, like Edgar Barata, who's just signed from Sampdoria. He's also a bit on the Asian side. A former player of this team, played for them in the mid to late 2000s. I say mid 2000s, before he left for Italy, where he spent the next 13 or so years. He hasn't got the physicals anymore, but he's got lots of good mentals, and for me, that is useful to say the least. So while we've got a lot of young talent to be excited about, with Bart van Rood's being another player that could be exciting, a decent player for this division, and maybe someone who could be in the Eredivisie in the future. We've also got an issue where 13 players have their contracts expire at the end of the season, which for me is not ideal, especially when you realise that some of them are actually pretty good. And for me, that is not a good situation to be in when you've got 13 players who are losing their contracts, or at least having their contracts expire at the end of the year, but they also are pretty decent. Some of which are young talent that we could like to keep hold of, like Anton Fuss, who, while isn't amazing right now, could definitely be a really good player in the future, but is also a good player for this division in the future. So it's not ideal. We could be losing some of these people, but again, It's not the end of the world. We just need to be very careful and very cautious about the contract situation because with the money we have, it's not ideal. We've also got Turan Ondan, who is on loan from Grenoble Foot in France. Another inverted winger, but also a player that could be a striker too. So very useful to have that in our side. But the man who will be the main striker is Rangala Janga. 28 years of age, is more of a poacher, but also as a target man. He's 6'4". We could utilize that height for corners and such when we go and attack. He plays for the Korkan national team, so it's going to be one of those things where we need to look into it and say, is this ideal for us? Still, that's the main team. Let's look at the junior teams. Looking at the Youth Development Centre, we've got a lot of young talent here that could be very, very useful. Sint, for example, while very inconsistent, not good at all for that sort of things, has potential. And it's won by FC20 and Utrecht, so a player that we need to keep hold of potentially. We've also got the likes of Erskamp as well, so he could be very, very good. I'm looking at this and seeing a lot of young talent that could be doing a lot of good work for us in the future. We've also got Carlos Ordenfeld, who could be very good for us. He's already good. He's already good in the First Division, and we will be hopefully be good enough for the Eredivisie if we get promoted in the next 2 or so years. But we look at the team and we say there's a lot of young talent here. We've got the B team that is useful, and a lot of players are there, so they are going to be playing in the Dutch Reserves competition Eredivisie, and they'll be playing against Jong NEC Nijmegen in that competition. We need to actually improve the coaching facilities or coaching staff here. In the under-18 squad, we've got a lot of young talent too, including some Vgens, which I actually allow for that to happen. I wasn't expecting that as a Bo to turn up, so he could be very good in the future. He is not an inverted winger, but we need to make him a right-sided player if he was to be an inverted winger for us. But at the age of 16, he's got a lot of room to grow, and I think he could be very, very useful indeed. Looking at the scouting windows of scouting knowledge, we got 10% of world knowledge, which for me is useful, but at the end of the day, is also not ideal. We need to really work on a few things to improve this. We've got mostly Central Europe and South Europe. We've got mostly South Europe, actually, which is not the end of the world. And Scandinavia being the next highest in 38%, but 55% South Europe. And then Central Europe is 31%, with, of all places, I wasn't expecting this, but Oceania being 27% is actually kind of interesting to say the least, but that's the most we have knowledge-wise. Scouting Centre, they've got a player already that is on their radar. This guy being an example, is a player I'm probably going to have to say no to for now, even if he can be an inverted winger, and he could be a very good inverted winger. But he could also be very good to be a player that could join in the current club. I say no for now because I don't see Genk wanting to sell him. And I think that Genk could be one of those things that we would love to keep this player around, just because he could be very good for the future. Looking at the staff, though, we have to look at this and say there's a few things we need to improve on. We've got to improve our recruitment. We've got room for more scouts, recruitment analysis, and a director of football. And I look at the other things as well, like the technical director, and I'm thinking we could probably do better than Leven. So it's a bit unideal to say that, but he's also on a 2-year deal, 4.6 grand a week. Whether or not I can actually get rid of him, I actually don't know, but he just signed from FC22, so I don't think he'd want to leave somehow. And Nick Kirsten, he's okay, but he's also wanted by Ajax of all teams, so Ajax, FC20 and Den Haag also want him, so it's a bit surprising that he's wanted by those teams. And Patrick Coulen is also wanted by Ajax as well, so two of my scouts already wanted by bigger teams. A little inconsiderate, but I suppose we can probably take advantage of this and maybe get some people to work for us as scouts in the meantime, get more people in. Looking in the medical side of things, we've got a very good head physio. Not perfect, but he's very good, 18 of his ability. He's only got a 1-year deal with us though. While the other two physios, not great. Rainer is not great, 8 of physio work. The same for OL, so we need to get rid of those two people, I think, because they're not very good at their jobs. Well, we've got the assistant, Juan de Groot, who has been at the club since 2017. I say that 2017. He's been on and off as an assistant manager and player since He's been at the club since 1996. I'd feel bad for getting rid of him, honestly, at this point, but I kind of need to, because he's been the under-assistant, he's been the interim manager, the assistant manager, the under-21s manager, and the actual manager itself. This guy's been around for a long time doing one thing or another, and I'm not sure if I'm so keen on this anymore. Look at the training though. We got room for people to come in, but we need to improve the training a little bit. The B team's goalkeeping coach is the best goalkeeper coach here. I might need to get rid of the goalkeeper coach because he's not great. Gonna need to do something about him. A former player as well, which makes it a little annoying to have to say yes, he needs to get rid of him, but he's only just signed a new contract if I recall correctly. Yeah, he's only just signed on the 1st of July, so we're gonna have to get rid of some of these people and see if we can go from here, because it's not great if their best knowledge, if their best ability is just 2-star. We got MacLeod. I think I'm gonna keep around. Not because I want to, but because I think I need to right now. And besides, I don't think, yeah, 2.5 stars. I think if they are not great, we need to get rid of some of these people. But there's a few people we need to look into and say, are they good enough for the team? And right now, it doesn't feel like a lot of these coaches are good enough for the team, so I might need to get rid of some of these coaches regardless. So we've got to work on that. So the previous lineup has been this, a 4-1-2-2-1 formation. I'm going to look at this and say, probably not what we're going to use. Instead, we're probably going to use this, a 4-3-3 formation, where we have the fullbacks as complete wingbacks. What is amazing to me about this guy is the fact he can be an inverted wingback, and I've seen a lot of people pretty much raving about this new tactic, about their tactics when they have inverted wingbacks, and it keeps on causing problems left, right, and center. If we can get this guy to be an inverted wingback as a natural player, then that's great. But for the most part, we're going to look at this tactic and say whether or not this should be the one to go for. 2 inside forwards in attack, a box-to-box midfielder, and a Caroleo with a deep line playmaker, with Barata being that man in the defensive midfielder role. I think using his not so great at physical abilities is going to be a cause for concern. So using him as a deep line playmaker on defend is probably the way to go about this. So hopefully this guy can be utilized in that position. And with the box-to-box midfielder, box-to-box defender being used for these guys, it'll be used as well. Van Eyden is great there. He can be a right back, but we also got a right back who needs some game time in Van Root. So using him as a complete wingback on support could be very useful indeed. He's really well rounded, so I kind of want to utilize that. And with El Karouni as well being someone we could use in that position, it'll be useful to have that. He's got Moroccan nationality as well, which is why we have the issue. He's also got, he feels like he's got a strong punch on the left with Okita, which is okay. Okita's not being used there. What is Okita's strength here? Because apparently he thinks Okita could be used good on the left. I don't see it. I really don't see it. Oh, he's a winger, that's why. Okay, so he'd be an inverted winger first and foremost, but he's a winger first and foremost as far as they're concerned. Alright, that'd be someone we need to utilize a bit more. Still, I got to learn about this team more. I got to figure out what I want to do with the team as well. And I also want to make sure that everything we do is good and that we can 100% utilize this team's full potential. Promotion in 3 years is the aim. Short term, long term, win the Dutch Cup and the Eredivisie and maybe get into European football. But other than that, we've got a few things we're going to work on. We've also got some affiliates as well. And this was a surprising one. I didn't realize we had NTK Budapest as a affiliate of ours, a affiliate club, not a senior affiliate. And we've got Top Os, I think that's how you say it. If I'm saying it incorrectly, I apologize. But we've got a lot of long-term deals. All of these are long-term deals. So if we can utilize these deals to our advantage, then we could. Either way, though, we are going to end this here. I hope you guys have actually enjoyed yourselves. Let me know what you think about this idea and if you want to see more of this in the future, because I'm actually curious. It's very different from what I've done in the past. I've never done a Dutch team on a stream or on YouTube before, to my knowledge. Either way, let me know what you think below. If you could like and share this video, leave a comment below, and also subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out a lot. But anyway, until next time, goodbye and well, good night.